Hello, my goddesses. Thank you so much for joining me back here at the Temple of Venus. It is your high priestess, Gwendolyn from the Temple of Venus. And today we're going to talk about the fact that the universe is actually responding to. I think a lot of times when people want something so badly or they desire it so much, they can't wait for it. They cannot sit down and just allow it to manifest. A lot of times when people say, oh, like, my spell is not working or this isn't working, my visualization is not working, is because you have to understand that, like, the universe is literally moving things around to give you what you want. It is literally sending messages and it's bouncing off different areas, different places to come back and give you what you want. So you can't just be like, oh, it didn't happen in a week. You have to give it some time. What I do want you to focus on is something called the mirror principle. This is your reality, and your reality reflects what you think about yourself. So, your self belief, what you expect from others, what you tolerate, what you assume is possible. And it is really the core of that really is your state of being. So let's say, I don't know, you want to lose weight, right? And so you've been working out, working out, working out, and you have only lost like 10 pounds in 2 months, which is pretty good. But you have so much that you'd like to lose. And then you get discouraged and then you go back into your old ways. Well, that means that you haven't readjusted your state of being, right? Like that means that you haven't aligned yourself and called yourself that thing that you're trying to manifest. If you want to be a doctor, a lawyer, you have to already know that intrinsically that that is what your being is. Like if I get into my car and I'm going to the grocery store, I'm not thinking like, am I gonna make it to the grocery store? And we don't think like that, right? So if we can do that just to go to the grocery store, why can't we do that for ourselves? We know that like more than likely, all things positive, that if you get into your car and you're driving to your grocery store, that you're probably gonna make it to your grocery store, to the grocery store, and then you're probably going to make it back home. But you already know that you were going to, right? Because your state of being already trusted that that was what was going to exist anyway. So same concept here. So if you say that you deserve abundance and then your subconscious is actually saying, I'm not enough, I have to prove myself, that means that your foundational principle of yourself hasn't come into fruition yet. Reality doesn't respond to what you say, it responds to who you are. Your internal identity is the signal that the universe is picking up to let the universe know what you need. So, your self concept, how you think about yourself, your emotional baseline, because emotions is how you connect to the cosmic grid, and your expectations of the world. And reality is constantly receiving that signal and organizing itself. This is why people can walk in the same room and have completely different experiences because of the expectation. Like one will walk in and everybody will be like, oh my God, who are they? And then the other one walked in and they'll feel ignored. Same room, different reality because of their state of being, their own idea of themselves. So you also have to be careful with what your subtle feedback loop is saying to yourself. Reality doesn't respond once, it responds continuously. So when you think something, you behave a certain way. When you behave a certain way, people react a certain way. And that cycle reinforces your beliefs, right? So let's say you think that you're a great employee. Now, we all know that, like, some people think that they're better employees than they actually are, but they probably get benefits because their subconscious tells them that they actually are until, they'll get let go, but that's a different story. But if somebody thinks that they're a great employee or they're really good at their job, they're going to approach their job differently. I'm going to give you an example because you guys know I'm a teacher. I used to be a coach, and I remember one student, when I used to do dibbles and I would go to like the first grade classes, and I remember one little boy thought he was so good at math, but he wasn't. His scores didn't reflect that, but it didn't matter. His own self-belief about himself was like, yeah, I'm good at math. And then I had this other little boy who scored higher than him, believed that he wasn't that good. And I don't know where those beliefs like form because that's not my class. It was another teacher's class. But it's so interesting to like see that like, oh, this little kid truly believes his state of being is saying, I'm good at math. I can do this. And then the other one is saying, oh, I'm not that good. But the data doesn't show that. But the belief that he is more powerful and will take him further than whatever that the data could actually say, which is crazy, right? But as a teacher, I'll tell you that like grit will take a lot of these kids further than actually being good at or at a subject. Um, so you have to just be careful what you're reinforcing in your own mind and what you're allowing yourself to think about. This is the loop that people get trapped in, but they're just unaware of it. So awareness is really your biggest power. The part that feels a little intense is that your environment and your the universe is always agreeing with you. So yes, right now, even if you are thinking of changing something about your life, the universe is already working towards changing it. You've already connected with the universe. Just that thought alone is making the universe say, okay, what is it that this person needs? How can I bring it to them? If you believe I'm unforgettable, let me organize people and moments to reflect that, is what your mind will say, or what the universe will say, because the universe is mirroring you. Your emotional identity creates your outcome. So, who are you emotionally? Are you somebody that expects disappointment? Are you someone that expects to shift things? Like, let's say I'm a big proponent of always having your own business. Regardless of if I wasn't doing this, I'd be doing something else. I'm a big proponent of falling in love with what you do on your own time, but also having a 9 to 5. So I have a 9 to 5 and I love my 9 to 5. But there are times where like I've been in education where like I wanted like some sort of grant, or like I wanted to like get like an extra stipend or something, and the principal wanted to give it to like their friends or didn't want to do it at all. And I realized that like, okay, cool, like, am I somebody that's going to be disappointed by that? I'm not going to be disappointed by that, because I know myself enough to know that I am somebody that is going to be like, no, I'm going to find a way to make my own money. And so I started a tutoring business, and now I've had the same 4 clients for like, I don't know, maybe 5 years now. I started artwork. I started painting. I do art shows. So I have different streams of or ways that I can make money. And then eventually I want to have the Temple of Venus, the School of the Temple of Venus, happen for me, so that nobody could ever tell me, if I'm looking for something, like, yeah, you might be able to close that door, but if at the end of the day, what I'm looking for, what I'm trying to manifest, I have full power and control over that. So you have to ask yourself, who are you emotionally? Are you somebody who expects disappointment, somebody who expects to be chosen, somebody who feels like they have to chase, or somebody who feels like they're allowed to receive? I think receiving for us as women sometimes is really difficult, but I think we should work on that more every day. Like, receive the sunshine, receive the raindrop, take in, smell that good prana air. um, Emotionally, your emotional identity is what's going to shape you, because people can feel it and your situation would respond to it. So if you feel like you're a good employee, if you feel like you're a good X, Y, and Z, the world will respond accordingly if you feel that way about yourself. Or, I mean, it always responds, but you might not like the response. If you don't like the response, then you can move, because you should be in an area that like respects your response. Your micro decisions after you've navigated your emotional parts, your emotional identity, the micro decisions, which I consider your quantum leaps, your micro decisions shape your reality also. So the way that you respond to things, the way, like, are you somebody that sabotages your friendships because you draw conclusions in your head, or do you suffer from paranoia? Um, and these are all like legit things that can ruin your relationships around you. But the way that you respond to a text, the way that you carry yourself in a room, whether or not you choose to speak or stay quiet, what you choose to tolerate, those are all micro decisions that build up the case for who you are. Now, if your reality is responding to you, what are you giving it to respond to? What do you embody daily? You don't have to control everything. You don't have to force outcomes. You simply have to become the version of you that reality naturally responds to. So if you are looking to shift your signal, how do I get this outcome? How do I become this person? You have to first change your concept of self, right? And if you are looking to become something, I don't care what it is, you have to find a mentor to get you there. You have to find somebody who already knows the ropes, who already knows what they're talking about, who's been through the gauntlet. Don't ask people that have never been don't ask people that have never been a CEO how they became a CEO, how to become a CEO, because they're not gonna know. They're not gonna know. So you have to make sure that like you get yourself a mentor, align yourself with these people, and see whether or not you like them. Now, everything that they did and you do that you would do too might not come into fruition, but for the most part, you'll be able to say, "Oh, okay, let me get a coach for this. Okay, so I want to be a vice president of this company. I'm going to need a mentor. Somebody else must have been a vice president so I can ask them, because if you don't, you're going to have a lot of difficulties once you become that vice president. Um, so the version of you that doesn't chase validation, who doesn't overthink every interaction, is subtle and is the one that is going to get you the most out of life, because you don't have to chase once you've built yourself up enough. You can attract. You stop trying to get reactions from reality, because reality is reacting to you. So next time something happens to you in your life, I need you to pause for a second, and instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Ask, what is this responding to within me? And that's not to blame yourself, but it's to understand your power. And then ask yourself, how can I transmute this so that I am victorious in the end? Because really, it is all about you being successful. Um, Before I go, I want to let you guys know a story. So there is, remember the Coldplay lady, the one that I think her name was Kristen or something, the one that was caught on Coldplay kissing that guy, Kristen Cabot. So she is the perfect example of somebody transmuting their energy. So initially she was, the home wrecker, because we were as women we're always blamed for everything. And people really were really upset with mainly her and not him, which I thought was crazy. But what I liked about her is she did not let that situation define her. What she ended up doing was going on Oprah to tell her story. She might end up writing a book. She might end up doing all these things, but she is somebody who is a manifester. She can transmute negative energy into positive energy, regardless of how you feel about her. That doesn't matter how you feel about her. What matters is how she feels about herself and how she can transmute that energy. Um, so thank you guys so much for watching. If I was you, I would go and listen to her Oprah series, just because you get to hear her perspective and her side, and you get to actively see somebody in transmutation, like within it, and it's gonna come out better on the other side. Well, I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching me again here at the Temple of Venus, and I will see you in the next video. As always, it is done. Bye.